Hello, YouTube. Sorry about that. We had a little Discord volume glitch, but it's done. So hello, YouTube. All right, TikTok or Discord. Let me get TikTok. TikTok's actually ready to go. And then we are set here. All right. Yeah, glad we figured out the sound thing. That is weird on Discord. I don't know why. It literally changed the volume on my settings. Discord's really weird because also I never changed that setting. Discord's so weird sometimes. All right, TikTok is coming in. Excellent. All right, hello, TikTokers. I think we are set here. Hang on. What am I gonna do here? Moving Discord over a touch. There we go. Now I can see the chat better. All right. Hey, TikTokers, Discord, YouTube, everybody. Slide this over a touch, maybe. Yeah, that's in the middle. Good enough. You can see my light in the corner, which is funny. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, others, for the gifts. Anyway, welcome, everybody. John Aravosis here, the Aravosis Report, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. As you guys know, this is the show we talk about the latest news from Ukraine, latest news in Washington as well, latest news on Trump and company. Let me adjust my light slightly. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay. I don't like to go too bright, but if it's not bright enough, it's not bright enough. So anyway, YouTube's good too. All right, guys. So welcome, everybody. We've got a lot of news today. Actually, there's significant Ukraine news. There's quite significant Ukraine news. There is also other news as well. No idea, Johnny. So let's get rolling. So yes, I do this for a living. I always give my little pitch, but your guys' gifts are very appreciated. I'll hit you up for gifts during the show a couple times because I do this for a living and your gifts are literally what pay the bills. So please keep them coming. Also make sure to follow me on TikTok and YouTube, Discord. I don't think there's a follow function. That's got to be Big Hawk with the octopus. Thank you, Big Hawk with the octopus. Very nice of you. Annie, thank you for the hearts. Let's just get rolling. So yeah, Elon news, there's lots of news across the board. So let me start with sort of the economic news. We've been doing a lot of economic stuff lately because of Trump's tariffs. The International Monetary Fund reported today via the Wall Street, this came via the Wall Street Journal, that the world is looking at an economic slowdown now because of Donald Trump's tariffs. He literally slowed down the entire economy of the world this year and next through his disastrous tariffs. From the Wall Street Journal, the sharp rise in tariffs since the start of the year marks the onset of a new era that will see most economies grow more slowly than previously expected, with the U.S. suffering one of the largest hits to its prospects. So the U.S. is going to get one of the largest hits to its economy because of Trump's, of any country in the world. The U.S. is going to get hit the hardest, almost the hardest, because of what Trump did. The IMF said in its quarterly report on the outlook for the global economy, the International Monetary Fund said U.S. tariffs now exceed the highs reached during the Great Depression. Trump's tariffs, even when he lowered them, Trump's tariffs are still greater than the tariffs that caused mayhem during the Great Depression. The Depression kicked in, countries freaked out like the U.S. We passed massive tariffs, and it made made the Depression far worse. Trump's tariffs are far greater than the tariffs we had during the Depression, which is crazy. Thank you, Catherine, for the Dizzy Birds. Let me listen to this. Marking a departure from the long period of relatively low barriers to trade that began to unfold after World War II. Quote, we're entering a new era as the global economic system that has operated for the last 80 years is being reset, according to the IMF. The IMF said the immediate impact of the rise in tariffs will be to slow economies around the world. It lowered its forecast for global economic growth from 3.3 to 2.8%, a downgrade that is slightly larger than that following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. For 2026, it now sees global growth of 3%, down from 3.3%. That's a 10% drop. That's not small. That's next year, they're seeing a 10% drop in growth across the board with the global economy. Domestically, this year they're seeing a 0.5% drop out of 3.3. That's about a 15% drop. So the global economy is going to basically Trump has shrunk the global economy 15% basically from where it would have been this year and 10% next year. Let's a little bit. Mexico is set to suffer the largest reversal of the big economies for which the IMF provides forecasts and is now expected to see its economy contract by 0.3% in 2025, having previously been on course for an expansion of 1.4%. That's huge. Mexico was going to grow 1.4%. That's okay. It's not huge, but it's okay. Now they're going to see their economy shrink by 0.3%. That's pretty horrific. The U.S., also very bad. The U.S. economy is also expected to suffer significant damage. Again, this is from the International Monetary Fund that is quite objective and analyze these things. The damage Trump's tariffs will do to the U.S. economy. Growth in 2025 this year is now forecast at 1.8%, down from 2.7%. That is a 0.9 drop, 2.7. That is a 33% drop in economic growth, guys. We just lost a third of our economy this year, thanks to Trump. I mean, that's how huge, a third of the growth, I should say. A third of the growth is gone that we were going to have in our economy this year because of Trump. He sacrificed a third of our economic growth this year. Okay? I mean, this is not small stuff. Next year, a further slowdown to 1.7% is expected for 2026, with the IMF having previously forecast an expansion of 2.1%. So that would be 0.4. That's better. 0.4, you're looking at 20%. So instead of losing 33% of our growth this year, we're going to lose 20% of our growth next year, which is very sad. Unfortunately, that's what he did. This is what happens when you elect someone who doesn't really know what they're doing in terms of economics, but also I think in terms of life in general. Trump wanted to beat up a bunch of countries, and he didn't care that he was beating us up as well by using these tariffs. And they're harming Americans. They're going to cause inflation. They're going to cause a recession, at least increase the risk of a recession. At the very least, according to the International Monetary Fund that I was just quoting for you guys, economic growth is not. We have lost some of our economic growth this year. Our economy was going to grow much more, and a chunk of that is missing this year and next year. Thank you, Dystopian. Thank you, Joe, as well for the gifts. We're losing a chunk of our growth this year and next year because of Trump's tariffs. By the way, growth typically means jobs. It means money. It means wealth. Companies are not making as much money as they would have made because of Trump. You and I are not making as much money as we would have made because of Trump. Not a good thing. All right. Let's move on. Trump. Oh, so Trump did another waffle today. Trump did a good thing today. The problem is he's been doing so many bad things that there's just no reason to trust him anymore. Trump said today that he has no intention of firing the Federal Reserve Chairman, except 3 days ago, Trump said he was going to fire. Actually, 2 days ago. No, actually 1 day ago, Trump said he was going to fire him. Last Friday, Trump said he was going to fire him. For the last several months, Trump has said he was going to fire the Federal Reserve Chairman. He's the guy who sets interest rates for the economy. Today, Trump is suddenly not going to fire the Federal Reserve Chairman after saying yesterday he was going to fire him, and saying Friday he was going to fire him, and saying for the last several months he was going to fire him. Do you get why this is chaos? Well, here's the problem. German says he can't fire him. Oh, you mean Trump would be breaking the law if he fired the Federal Reserve Chairman? Because with Donald Trump, how breaking the law means he'll never do something if he's got to break the law to do it. Right, German? I mean, come on. Donald Trump would never break a law, right? Okay, right. This is chaos, but this is freaking chaos what he's doing. Now, the market will be glad to hear that Trump now claims suddenly he no longer intends to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve. The problem is, as I said, yesterday he was going to fire him. Last Friday he was going to fire him. The last several months he was going to fire him. So now today he's not going to fire him? Like, what happened? Did he have heartburn today and his mind changed? I mean, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? If you are with Wall Street, if you're with anybody considering investing in the U.S. Stock market, the U.S. economy, thank you, Jess, for the gifts. Thank you, George, as well. You don't know who to believe. Do you believe Trump today, Trump yesterday, Trump last Friday, or Trump of the last 3 months? Which Trump should we believe? Because also we know darn well that Trump literally is like, woo, woo, woo. He's like a yo-yo, right? Back and forth, back and forth. We don't know what makes Trump change his mind. What we do know is the one certainty with Trump is he can always change his mind, and it will be erratic. And today he's not going to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Is it just as possible that tomorrow Trump is going to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve? Yes. After saying he wouldn't do it today? Absolutely. I mean, that we know with Trump, right? There is just as much of a possibility that tomorrow he'll change his mind. If you're trying to invest in the U.S. economy, Can you trust now that the Trump you got today saying he's not going to fire the chairman of the Fed, that Trump is the real Trump? Or is it the Trump of yesterday who said he was going to fire him? Or the Trump of last Friday who's going to real fire him? Or the Trump of the last 3 months who was going to fire him? Right? And you know that. I'm not pointing anything out that you guys don't know. But I'm saying, like, if you're trying to invest in the U.S. economy, as Americans, as American businesses, as foreign businesses, as foreign governments, there is no way you can believe what Donald Trump said today. You know as well as I do, is it possible Trump will change his mind again and try to fire Powell? Of course, right? So his assurance today isn't really an assurance you can count on, right? That's the problem. That's the problem. Now, Deb says he cannot, as I said before, Donald Trump has quite successfully done a lot of really bad things in the last 3 months that are not allowed, that he cannot do. Trump cannot shut down government agencies. Would you like me to count the number of government agencies Trump has shut down, Deb? Not just go after Deb, but, right? The Department of Education, gone. USAID, gone. They're now going to get rid of 15% of the State Department, gone. They can't do that. Voice of America, gone. The court today said he can't, but it's gone, right? Trump doesn't seem to be listening to those of us here who say, but he can't do that, right? He's doing it anyway. He also can't kick people out of the country illegally. He also can't violate a court order and violate a Supreme Court order by not getting the El Salvadoran back that he illegally kicked out of the country. He can't do that. He can't violate a court order, but he did. So that's my concern. Again, the point isn't about you and me. The point is, if you are looking to invest in the U.S. economy, either on Wall Street as an American or as a foreigner, you're looking at this and you're saying chaos. You're saying Donald Trump was going to screw up the Federal Reserve. He was going to screw up monetary policy. He was going to screw up interest rates. He was going to risk inflation. And now today he's not, but yesterday he was, and last Friday he was, and for 3 months he was, but now he's not. Right? So which one is it? Which one is it? Right? He's erratic. He can't be trusted. And the worst thing for the stock market and investments overall are not being able to predict where things are going. You've got to have some kind of a sense of where the U.S., not just the U.S. economy is going, but where the U.S. government is going, that there's some stability in the U.S. government. Otherwise, how do you invest? Yeah, it's very bad. Very bad. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. What else we got? I mentioned State Department. Marco Rubio's planning on, this is really weird, actually. It's not really weird. They're trying to destroy the State Department now because they perceive the State Department as being liberal. Now, here's the problem. In the same way that the Defense Department is conservative, the State Department is liberal, right? Generally speaking, if you're a Republican, you might go more likely to the military, right? To shoot people. If you're a Democrat, you might more likely be interested in diplomacy. You might more likely be interested in helping poor people around the world, helping people who are starving, right? And again, I'm a big believer in the military. I'm a big supporter of the military, but there's often a personality type that gravitates to guns versus gravitating to butter, as the analogy goes, but that would gravitate to wanting to go and help people with AIDS in Africa. That would tend to be somebody on the left, typically. Not always, but typically. So what's going on is Trump and company are trying to destroy any agency they see as left. Education. Again, education. Not all Democrats in education, but again, for education, I could see people, you want to become a teacher, you want to help children. You could be a Republican, but it might lean a little more to the left. Humanities overall, Alan just said exactly, humanities overall, becoming an English major, you might be a little more on the left, right? But in any case, so they're trying to destroy the agencies they perceive as being on the left. They got rid of the Department of Education. They got rid of U.S. foreign aid, helping poor people, starving people around the world. And now they're trying to gut the U.S. State Department. One thing they're planning on doing, apparently, that they talked about doing was, this was crazy, eliminating the Africa Bureau was one of the things they talked about doing. Like literally the part of the State Department that deals with Africa, they just want to get rid of it, which is crazy. How do you get rid of Africa, right? Does that even make sense? Whatever your views are on Africa, right? I mean, I don't really care necessarily, but whatever your views are on Africa, you can't just get rid of it. It's there. How do we not practice diplomacy with Africa? How do we eliminate the bureau at the State Department that deals with Africa? I mean, it's just crazy. The Russians and the Chinese are having a field day with Africa. The Russians are trying to take over Africa. The Chinese have been trying to take over Africa for decades, right? They think that there is an incredible opportunity strategically, militarily, economically in taking over Africa, while we ignore it. Not only have we cut off all aid to Africa, but we are cutting off, literally, they're talking about eliminating the bureau at the State Department that deals with Africa. Again, all you need to know is the Russians and the Chinese think that there's massive opportunities for their influence in Africa, and they think strategically and militarily, it helps them immensely getting influence in Africa. I would suggest that if the Russians and the Chinese think Africa is militarily, strategically very important, then maybe we ought to be paying attention. That's all I got to say. A little more here. New York Times, Voice of America. Federal judge blocked the Trump administration from dismantling the Voice of America, a government-funded news organization that Trump has accused of being biased against him. Oh, there we go. I love that was thrown in the article. So Trump is shutting down Voice of America because they were mean to him. I'm sure they reported on his 34 felonies or whatever, and he got upset, right? They were mean to him. So we're just going to shut down the entire federal government of any news organization that was critical of Trump, right? Really just unbelievable. So yes, the judge has ordered that Trump not shut down Voice of America. I think he already pretty much gutted it, but let's see what happens. A federal judge rebuked, this is from ABC News, a federal judge in New York rebuked the Trump administration's use of the Aliens Enemies Act, saying the president's proclamation was contrary to the law. This was that law Trump is using to basically illegally, really, deport a lot of people to Central America. He kidnapped that guy from El Salvador and illegally shipped him to, literally in violation of U.S. federal law, shipped him to El Salvador. He's illegally, Trump is committing a felony by refusing to bring the man back when the Supreme Court ordered him to bring the man back. He ordered him to facilitate bringing the man back, and Trump said no, which is a felony. And the court today said that law Trump is using he compared using that law to a medieval inquisition. Listen to this. He temporarily extended his order blocking some deportations in New York and blasted a Justice Department lawyer for suggesting that due process is a flexible standard. Due process is the concept that anybody in the U.S. has the right to go to court and petition if they feel that their rights have been violated. And Trump's Justice Department said, well, the concept of due process, that you can go to court to defend your constitutional rights, it's flexible. In other words, sometimes you can't go and seek the court helping you with your constitutional rights. That's insane. That is not legally true. Actually, you can always go to court for help in seeking your constitutional rights. The judge said, this is the United States of America. People are being thrown out of the country because of their tattoos. The law is clear. If you are kicking out a person, you give them an opportunity to defend themselves. You can't kick someone out by guilt by association. What the judge is talking about is just that we can kick people out of the country, but they have the right to go to court. They have the right to say, no, you're doing it illegally. You're violating the law. There is a law that says how you can kick somebody out, and you're violating that law, and I can go to court if you're trying to kick me out to prove it. And what Trump is doing is saying, no, they've picked people up, and they've literally shipped them out of the country before they can even go to court, which is, again, illegal, un-American, bad. What else we got here? The head of 60. This is actually very bad. Anybody who's up on 60 Minutes. So the guys, don't respond to the trolls. Just get rid of them. Remember, we don't want to be engaging with the trolls. Just get rid of them. The head of 60 Minutes resigned. This is very bad. 60 Minutes is a 60-plus-year-old TV show, 60 years old or so. It's on CBS News, or CBS in America, the network. It is a hard-hitting news show. Very hard-hitting news show. They go after everybody, right, left, very strong and very smart and very objective. Well, Trump doesn't like them because if you are trying to install an autocratic, authoritarian, fascist government in America, you will not like 60 Minutes because 60 Minutes stands up to you, right? 60 Minutes stands up to bad guys on the left or the right, wherever they are. So if you're a bad guy and you've got the power, you might try to shut down 60 Minutes. Well, Trump is trying to shut them down. Trump has a $10 billion lawsuit against 60 Minutes because he claims, and again, I'm a lawyer, it's absolute BS, but thank you, Tucker. Trump claims that 60 Minutes illegally edited an interview with Kamala Harris to make her sound better. There is no law dealing with how you edit an interview, first of all. And if I have to believe Donald Trump versus 60 Minutes about how an interview was edited, I'm going to believe 60 Minutes, the news station that I've never heard lie, versus Donald Trump, the man who's a pathological liar and who the Washington Post said lied 30,000 times during his first presidency, the first 4 years. Nonetheless, the head of 60 Minutes has now quit. He is only the third or fourth head of 60 Minutes in 60 years. They've only had a handful of people running this news network, this news channel, this news show. He just quit. And he said he quit because he's no longer allowed to do his job. They're no longer allowed to independently report the news because of Donald Trump and his influence with the business running 60 Minutes. Trump has sued them. Again, it's a bullshit suit. $10 billion, literally, I said $10 billion because of the way they edited an interview with Kamala Harris. Everyone says the lawsuit's BS. But 60 Minutes is owned by, because in America, unfortunately, thank you, Kano, thank you, Cinderella, thank you, Vicky. In America, our media is owned by big conglomerates. So basically, they're like too big to fail. Our media is unfortunately owned by lots of other, the cable company, the cable internet company owns some of our media. Disney owns some of our media. It's crazy. Like Disney, what the hell is Disney doing owning news stations, right? But they do. Well, guess what happens? In this case, I think it's Paramount, which is big movie network, right? And TV channel, this kind of thing. Paramount is, I think, the owner of CBS. All right, help me out, guys. Paramount, the owner of CBS, I think it is. Yeah, Sherry Redstone. And the Paramount has some deals they're trying to work out with the Trump administration, and Trump has threatened those deals. So the head of Paramount, Sherry Redstone, who I think she's a right winger. I don't recall with her, but the head of Paramount wants CBS to settle with Donald Trump to pay him billions of dollars in cash, probably billions of dollars, to make the lawsuit go away, because she wants Trump to approve her deal. She's trying to sell one of the parts of her business she's trying to sell, and Trump won't let her sell it unless she pays him off with the lawsuit. This is what's so scary. And other media companies have already paid Trump off. So, but again, let me put a finer point on this. He files a $10 billion with a B dollar lawsuit against CBS. CBS is owned by a bigger company. The bigger company has deals that Trump is screwing with. And the Trump people are saying, well, if you want to settle the CBS suit and pay us billions of dollars in cash, we'll let your sale go through. In other words, right? I mean, can I put this in starker terms? CBS is supposed to pay Donald Trump billions of dollars, and he'll let the deal go through. That sounds like a bribe. It sounds like pay to play. And the head of the network wants it because she's a business person. She wants to sell and make a lot of money. She doesn't care. And apparently they've now already put pressure on CBS that CBS and 60 Minutes is no longer able to do the kind of independent coverage it used to do. I mean, this is pure fascism. This is pure authoritarian. This is un-American. Again, I keep talking about it, but it's the kind of stuff we see in Russia. It's the kind of stuff we see in communist China. I mean, this is incredibly, again, they've now got 60 Minutes. And all of these companies, all of our media is controlled by huge companies that own everything. Trump can screw with any of them. He can screw with any of their deals and make the media toe the line. Because CNN won't toe the line, but its parent company will, right? CBS won't toe the line, but its parent company will order them to. Very scary stuff. Tesla. So good news here. Thank you, Dave. Keep the gifts coming, guys, by the way. Your gifts help pay the bills, so please keep them coming. I appreciate them. Tesla, listen to this. This was from Wall Street Journal. Tesla's income slid 71% in the first quarter. Their income dropped 71% in the first quarter. 71% because of Elon's crazy political crap he's been doing. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Carrie Anderson. As the company struggled to overcome competitive pressure overseas and a reputational hit from chief executive Elon Musk's polarizing role in the Trump administration. The electric vehicle maker reported adjusted earnings per share of 27%, which missed analyst expectations of 41 cents. You have to kind of follow stocks to appreciate this, but when the estimate is that your earnings are going to be how much money the company made was 41 cents a share, typically when you miss it like 40 cents a share instead of 41, maybe even, 39 cents a share instead of 41, right? 27 cents a share instead of 41. I mean, that's horrific. 71% decrease in their earnings. Oh, well, what do you do? They did have a lot. They recalled every Cybertruck as well. Oh, well. No, again, Tesla, and I've said this before, but Tesla has destroyed itself. They've destroyed the brand. Not only has Tesla put itself in bed with Donald Trump and fascism worldwide, really. I mean, Tesla, Elon, who is Tesla, has been supporting the AfD in Germany, the neo-fascist group in Germany. He's supporting neo-fascist groups in the UK. He's supporting them in France. I don't recall. Actually, yes, in France. He went to speak to them in France too, actually. He went to speak to them in France, I believe. I think in France. I shouldn't say France. France, I'm not sure. Italy, yes. He did go to speak to the, sort of wannabe neo-fascist group in Italy recently. This is who Tesla's in bed with. I mean, like, the problem is, who buys electric vehicles? It often is people who care about the environment, right? Who cares about the environment? Is that politically people on the left or politically people on the right? It's politically people on the right. Elon and Tesla have said to its liberal customers, its Democratic customers, its customers on the left and the middle, they've told us to go to hell. Except we're the ones that buy the cars. They don't buy the cars. They want gas guzzlers, right? They don't want electric vehicles, typically, people on the right. Except it's the people on the right that Elon is sucking up to. This is the problem with Tesla right now. This is the problem. Because what do you do? Oh, wait till we start talking about Russia. The troll got upset. The troll goes, "You're so biased." He's got a Russian name. And I'm like, "Oh, honey, you don't even know what we're talking about next, because next we're talking about Ukraine." So yeah, bad news for Tesla. Oh well. Elon is good for Rivian. Thank you for the little dog there. Who was that? Puppy kisses from Bobby. Thank you, guys. We do a lot of trolls, but the trolls make us stronger. So Ukraine, let's talk about Ukraine a little bit. Thank you for the birds. It was a Benzo. Thank you, Benzo, for the birds. Oh, God, I hate that when you sip water. Oh, God. Haven't done that in a while. I'm okay, but I hate that when you sip water and it goes in. Not really breathing. It's sipping water down the wrong pipe. Oh, man. So breathing isn't really the problem. It's just it goes down, and then you kind of have to wait until you get over it. Woo. And now my eyes are going to water. I hate that, though. Thank you, Courtney. I haven't had that happen in a while. Woo. And there's like nothing you can do about it. It's not like it's dangerous, but but you just kind of want to cough and get red. Don't cry. Exactly. Don't cry. Exactly, Kelly. Don't cry. He's talking about. It makes me sad when I talk about Tesla losing money. What can I say? Ukraine. There's big Ukraine news. Ukraine, it is day 1,151. Pat on the back. I don't think it works for inhaling water, but it may. It is day 1,151 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. Big news broke literally right before the show. Earlier today, Zelensky made a comment earlier today, and I remember looking at it and going, okay, this is interesting. Thank you, Stephanie. Ali thoughts an SG to you. the interesting news today. So Zelensky came out today and said that Trump's little peace proposal isn't going to work. Trump has a peace proposal out there, a peace proposal, right? That gives Russia everything. It says Russia can hold on to all the Ukrainian land that it invaded. The Ukrainians have to forever give up Crimea, like literally say that it's part of Russia, which is amazing. Ukraine has to say it's not going to join NATO, and Russia doesn't have to do anything. So I love this like compromise. The compromise is give Russia everything, and that's it. Well, Zelensky today said, basically over his dead body, that the Ukrainians are going to give Crimea to Russia, which the Russians stole in 2014. He said no. He said under our Constitution, it's not even allowed. I've got to look. I think he even said under the Constitution, it's literally not allowed. He said he was open to talks about a ceasefire, but Ukraine would not accept any deal that recognized Moscow's legal control of Crimea. Ukraine will not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea, Zelensky said. There's nothing to talk about. This is against our Constitution. So the Ukrainians, sorry, this is my joking thing with my news. The Ukrainian Constitution literally says Crimea is Ukrainian. Thank you, NJ Patman, for the gift there on YouTube. Well, Marco Rubio is upset, which means Donald Trump is upset that Zelensky pointed out the law in Ukraine. Okay. Thank you, Carrie, for the gift there. Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, is very angry at Zelensky, which means Donald Trump's very angry, and he's going to skip the next stage of the Ukrainian ceasefire talks. He was going to do some, I don't know, next phase with Ukraine or whatever, and he's not going to go because he's angry at the Ukrainians for not giving up, for not just rolling over and basically going, okay, take me, Russia. It blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind, this whole thing. It's the problem, rage quitting, exactly. Who used the, that was the word Preston Stewart used that word the other day, that Trump was threatening to rage quit. I thought that was a great phrase. This is just incredible to me. I mean, I have to say, like, I'm not sure. Well, here's the thing, actually. Here's the thing. I mean, I'm not sure what Ukraine does here, right? Because the Russians aren't going to compromise. The Russians don't want peace. Preston is great. Yeah. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Eslin. The Russians don't want peace. The Russians don't want a peace deal, right? That's the first problem. The second problem are, what do you do with, what do you do if you're Ukraine, though, right? I mean, what do you do? Russia's not going to return the land. You eventually would like the war to stop, but do you want the war to stop at all costs, right? The only way to get the war to stop is giving up this land to Russia, supposedly. Do you do that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it feels wrong to me because it does feel like we're giving Russia everything. I also would say this too. I think there's a lot of BS here as well, in terms of everyone likes to pretend like, oh, Russia's invincible. Look at World War II 80 years ago. Well, guess what? 80 years ago, they were the Soviet Union and they included Ukraine. They're not the Soviet Union today. They're not the big bad today. Russia might have been 8 feet tall 80 years ago. They're not 8 feet tall today. Putin's like 5 feet tall. I think we play a game when we sit there and go, oh, the Russians are so strong. They're going to fight forever. The Russians have 1 million casualties in Ukraine. Putin is afraid of domestic unrest. Putin hasn't even had a nationwide draft because he's afraid of domestic unrest. Their economy is in real trouble because, yeah, the economy hasn't collapsed, but it's not good. They can't afford for this war to go on another 5 years. I just think we're playing a little bit of a game when we sort of go, oh, there's nothing we can do to influence little old Russia, right? I mean, I don't think so. In any case, so yeah, it's kind of a mess with the peace situation right now. What was this? Oh, Putin offered his own peace proposal, according to the Financial Times today. Putin offered to halt his invasion of Ukraine at the current front line. He said that he would this is great. He would relinquish his claims to areas of, okay, I have to explain this. He claimed, we'll relinquish our, this is the concession Russia's going to make. Putin said, oh, I'll stop the war and we'll even relinquish our claim to the land in Ukraine we haven't occupied yet. Okay, let me clear this by this. Putin is saying that land he doesn't even occupy yet in Ukraine, he wants. And they're Russian. Even though the Russians don't even, it's Ukraine. B, the Russians don't even occupy the land yet. And Putin says it's ours. But as a concession, Putin will give up the lands he doesn't control inside Ukraine. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, how is that a concession? It's sort of like saying, for example, let's just pretend Putin wanted Kyiv, the capital. And Putin now says, well, Kyiv was always part of Russia, we believe, but we will not go after that right now. Okay. And will you go after it next year? Yeah. I mean, right. He's going to go after these lands anyway, but also, why does it matter for Putin to say, do you know what I mean? Like I will give up lands that I don't have. You can't give up lands you don't have. If you don't control the lands, you can't give them up. You're not giving up anything. That's like me giving up, right? Like, oh, I will give you to each and every one of you, I'll give you all the diamonds I own, except that I don't own any diamonds, right? So it's not really a promise, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense. He's forswearing the land that they don't control yet. It is gaslighting. It's a lie, basically. But again, the concession, I mean, Ukraine ought to say, okay, that's great. Our big concession will be that we're not going to build a nuclear weapon, they should say, for now. Because they're not building a nuclear weapon for now. They can't build one for now. But if we're making fake gifts, right, then why doesn't Ukraine gift things it doesn't have, right? Ukraine should say, okay, then we forswear our claims to Moscow for now. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So Putin, but again, he's trying to, having said that, what Putin's saying is similar to what Trump is saying, though, right? Putin is saying, for right now, we won't go after any more land in Ukraine. For right now, Trump would like that. Putin is also going to say we want Crimea, and we want it as part of Russia. Keep in mind here, what Putin's going to do, Putin is going to invade again in a few years. He'll just build his military up 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, and he's going to invade again and take even more land. They wanted all of Ukraine. They almost had all of Ukraine. I mean, in the sense that they were really coming down and threatening Kyiv. Remember that first weekend, that first 8 or 10 days, Kyiv, the capital, was in real danger. And it just I think it was I'm trying to remember if it was like the Estonians and American intelligence and a couple different intelligence agencies got the Ukrainians the information that the Russians were coming, in terms of coming for this airbase. The Ukrainians were able to move their planes. It was like a big deal, but it was very touch and go there about even putting Kyiv, the capital, in danger. It was a big deal. They're going to come again. All right. A little more here. Dutch intelligence says Russia's ramping up its hybrid war efforts against Europe. I'm not going to quote the Russians on how they say they've done in the battles, because I think they lie. Okay, this was interesting. So here was the final story. Okay, two final stories. One, Zelensky is going to the Pope's funeral. I thought that was interesting. Also, it's kind of good because it's good diplomacy for whoever the next pope is. That's not a bad thing. Thank you, Sandman, for the gift. Keep the gifts coming, guys. But listen to this. This was via Sky News. In Russia itself, a state of emergency was declared in a region next to Moscow after an unexpected explosion. Sky News. A state of emergency has been declared in Russia's Vladimir region following an explosion. It's not clear what caused the blast at present. Telegram channels close to Russia's security services said the explosion occurred near a weapons arsenal close to the village of Barsovo. Vladimir's regional governor said an explosion had occurred in one of the districts. Emergency personnel were working. He offered no details. The region lies just east of Moscow. According to Ukrainian defense media outlet Militarny, the facility in question is Russia's 51st arsenal of the main missile and artillery directorate, one of Russia's largest weapons arsenals. So this is one of Russia's largest weapons storage facilities, and it just appears to have blown up. And the Russians declared a state of emergency. That sounds to me like Zelensky. Well, actually, it sounds like Budanov, which is like the head of military intelligence. Yeah, oopsies, oopsie. That sounds like the Ukrainians did it. And I'm sure Callum or somebody else would tell us it also sounds a little bit like the Brits might have done it too, to be honest. I wonder, who knows, if the Brits maybe helped, at least help them with intelligence and all of that. We didn't help, probably, but hopefully the Brits did. But yeah, so quite the move there. All right, I'm going to adjust my camera. That's it for the news, but we will hang as we always do. All right, I'm adjusting my camera a little so I can sit back. Oops, Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. All right, there we go. There we go. Hello, all. So yes, this is the part of the show we hang out, we talk, whatever you want to talk about, coffee talk. Oh, some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Oh, you know, when TikTok's AI gets upset, the trolls must be doing something bad. Oh, well. Crystal, you did miss the news. Sorry. Yeah, she's not taking a break, right? Actually, she's pretty conked out. She's kind of adorable. I will show you guys. The dog is kind of adorably conked out at the moment. There you go. Maybe upside down. I don't know, but kind of adorable. I think she's very cute when she conks out like that. It's very sweet. Kind of like, it's very cute. Anyway. Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh. Ugh. So, yes. Oh, man, of course, now my eye's okay. My eye was being really weird earlier. I set up an eye appointment for the morning because my left eye got like a little blurry. It was a little freaky. Called my eye doctor, and now, of course, it's being much better, I think. Yeah, it's much better, but like, whoo, that was a little weird. So I don't think it's not floaters, because I have lots of floaters. It's not floaters. I've had floaters since I was a kid. No, I don't. I'm just hoping it's not like the retina doing something weird, but I'm going to see him in the morning. I was like, I don't get migraines. That's the only thing. I don't get migraines. So like, thank God I don't. I don't know. I mean, maybe the only thing, I mean, yeah, thank God I don't get migraines. Exactly. Could you imagine? I mean, who knows? I guess it's possible anything, right? It could be blood sugar. I mean, who the hell knows? I wasn't feeling like it was anything, but geez, scary. Ocular migraines? I'll have to look. I don't know. Okay. I mean, I wonder whether, because like I woke up early. I got to bed late. I woke up early. So like, you know, I don't know what, anyway, we'll talk about that later. I don't know whether that did it, but I'm going to him anyway because I have a history of retinal detachments. So when the vision gets weird, you know, you're supposed to go in, because retina stuff too, you don't feel it. Anyway, very, very freaky little stuff. A silent migraine, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's fine. I'm going to go in and he's going to do his exam. So I'm assuming it's fine, but well, again, what do you do? But I got to get up early, which I'm like, oh, I hate getting up early. Anyway, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, take aspirin. Oh, you take aspirin. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've learned, especially when you have retinal detachments and stuff, which I've had, you've got to get, I did a really big blog post on my retinal problems, like, 15 years ago. I was in France in like 2009 or so and had a big retinal detachment, had to get surgery. I had to stay in, which was kind of fun. I mean, it was fun because I had to stay in France for 3 months. The doctor told me, you can't fly. She goes, you can't fly for 3 months. And she wasn't wrong. After 2.5 months, she let me fly, and my eye literally hurt on the plane, because when you fly, the pressure differential, your organs expand, and like your eye is expanding, but it's got stitches on it. It actually hurt. I was like, oh God. But 2.5 months having to live in Paris for 2.5 months, I was like, okay, okay. So a friend of mine is an artist, was Marcus McAllister, if anybody knows Marcus. But Marcus was doing a sort of a tour back home in Arkansas. So his apartment was free. So I got to house sit at Marcus's place for 2 months. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, so I did a big article on retinal detachments, and it actually helped a lot of people because I was describing symptoms, and a number of people like in the comments and then wrote me and said, oh my God, I had symptoms like that. I had no idea. And they went to the doctor and it was a retinal problem, because retinal problems are very dangerous because you don't feel them. The nerves in your eyes don't do things, so you don't know. And it's very dangerous. You can go blind quite easily, but it's very, very creepy stuff. So anyway, my retinas were thinning. Yes. PVDs, because I'm very myopic, which is part of the, if you're very myopic, like I was -9.5, if you're very myopic, your eye gets thinner and the retinas can tear. You'll know it, for example, floaters, big, huge new floater in your eye, this big, crazy web thing. If you get a big new one, you go to the doctor immediately, and you don't go, by the way, you don't go to an ophthalmologist, no, an optometrist, excuse me. You do not go to an optometrist, you go to an ophthalmologist. Sorry, I'm an expert on this stuff. You do not go to an optometrist. Very dangerous, because they're nobody. You don't go to like the eye exam place on the corner. People do, though. They don't realize it. Thank you, Annie. I love that one. Thank you, Chazak, as well. But yeah, if you see a huge new floater in your eye, if you see flashes of light, if you see snow falling, that's really bad. I mean, like literally, you see, never had that. Flashes of light, I'm not sure. The snow falling, I haven't had. A friend had that. Very bad. If you see a huge new floaters that you didn't have before, you go to the doctor immediately. There you go. German says, I had a sudden light flash and then a floater, went to the eye doctor. Yeah, because that would be a perfect example of a PVD, where basically the back, potentially the back of the retina can tear a little bit. It's not fun. I don't want to go through all the details, because literally they have to do laser surgery on your eye. That's very simple, and it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. It hurts. It hurt a lot. But they say it doesn't hurt. I was like, oh my God, it doesn't hurt. Floaters are hard to explain. Floaters are the liquid in your eye kind of congeals. It will literally look like you've got lint in your eye. You will look, I've had them since I was a kid. I'm looking around and I just get used to it. It looks like there's little balls of lint in my eye. And literally it's kind of again, shaped like lint. Mine, I'm looking at them like now as we talk. Mine are literally this big. Like they're sort of this big in my field of vision. They're quite big. And it's as if it's lint. So it gets a little blurry. It makes it a little blurry. And then I can go like this and knock them out of the way. It's the craziest thing. They're very weird. They're called floaters. They're very weird. They can be little black flies as well. Tina raises a good point. They can be little pinpoints. With me, I've noticed the little pinpoint is particularly problematic, because it can be blood, it can be other, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but the little pinpoint can be blood and other stuff. And again, you'll notice the pinpoint because you never noticed it before. There's literally a black point that you can move around in your eye. Mine I can move. Somebody else said hers do not move. Mine thank God I can move mine, but they're very annoying. I just sort of got used to it. What do you do? You just kind of move your eye quickly. I literally go like this. And when I do this, they move back and forth. Now, they don't go away, but if they're blocking the middle, I can at least go like this and get them into a little bit of a different part of the eye. Yeah. Anyway, it's not fun. It's okay. I can see. As I said to my mom once, I was like, you know what? I'm not blind. So, they suck, but I can see. So what the hell, But yes, you always want to be careful to any of those symptoms. It's a very bad thing. Paula has floaters that are like little bubbles. Oh, that's scary. Gunther is baking. Gunther's sharing baking. Sometimes they can sink to the eye so they can't be seen. Yeah, mine never did, but for some people, I think maybe they do. Yeah, mine never did. Thank you, user 336. Thank you, Addie, as well, for the gifts. Anyway, I'm good, Marie. Thank you for asking. Mine do look like strings. Mine are linty strings. There are some individual strings you can see. Like I said, mine tend to be bigger though, but there are some, because of the light coming from, I've got the big light in front of me for the show. It's giving me I see floaters differently. I've got, if I'm looking out the window, I can see the threads a little, like there's one thread right now that went like this and had a loop on the end. It's really weird. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Enough of this. We're scaring everybody away talking about floaters and retinal detachments. Anyway, so what else, guys? Actually, we're pretty early today. It's only 7 o'clock. Only 1 hour in. Have I done any baking? Yes, I did make some more bread. So I've got a big thing of white bread I made because I was wanting some, so that's good. I've already had cataracts. They're gone. I got cataracts very young for some reason. We don't know why. But I got them so young that the doctor didn't think they were cataracts. Actually, my cataract story is pretty funny because it was when I had my retina detachment, the French doctor saw that I had cataracts. And this is now, maybe I was 45 years old, 44 years old. I don't even know. And the French doctor goes, "Oh, you've got cataracts." So what are you talking about? He goes, "No, they're small." He goes, "This eye is a little bigger than this eye, but you've got two little cataracts in your eyes." He goes, "They're probably not a problem for a while." I said, "Get out of here." It's like, really? Well, within a year or two, maybe 2 years later, I'm noticing a color change in one of my eyes. And literally the colors are getting muted. And I mean, it was obvious. And I went to the doctor. He goes, "That's not normal." Oh my God. The tests they had me do, the horrific tests they had me do were nasty. Contact lens that had a wire on it. I mean, like, not happy stuff connected to a machine, a contact lens connected to a machine. It was like, horrible stuff, horrible stuff. But no one thought they were cataracts. And literally after months and months and months and months and months, finally one guy looked in my eye and goes, "You got cataracts." I said, "Get out of here." No one saw them. And within a year, they were so bad I had to have the surgery, which is crazy. But mine, it didn't make sense because it was my eye that was not operated on that needed the surgery first. Because typically you get operated in an eye and that's a problem that causes cataracts. But Cricket had them when you were 37. Yeah, well, same problem because you were even younger than me, right? I was probably 43, 44. So no one figured they were cataracts, Yeah. And, and the surgery's easy and it's expensive, but it was easy. And it was weird though. Cataracts, who knows? I mean, cataracts I don't even know what causes them, to be honest. I mean, they can be caused by interference in your eye. So eye surgery can cause cataracts. Retinal detachments can cause cataracts. Retinal detachment surgery can cause cataracts. Any kind of surgery in your eye can cause cataracts. Basically, it's just sort of, for whatever reason, it's how your eye reacts to being bothered like that surgically. It just forms a cataract in the lens. The lens becomes cloudy. Sun in your eye, sun exposure, maybe, yeah. I think diabetes might be a possibility as well. No, that's just you guys. Hedgehog patient? Like a hedgehog that gets cataracts. That's funny. Yeah. Anyway, but it's funny though. Yeah, I had no Iran news. I had none of the precursors for why you'd have cataracts, though. It made no sense. Thank you for the dog. Who is that? Cinderella. Thank you. But yeah, I had none of the things that should cause cataracts, but they happened anyway. What do you do? Hello, you. The dog was coughing briefly, looking at me lovingly. I thought diabetes was one of the possible precursors. Yeah. Yep. Cricket just said so. Oh, see you, Dave. Anyway, what else? It's funny. There was a lot of news, but then we went through it quickly today. Surgery for the cataracts. Oh yeah, I got both cataract surgeries done 15 years ago or whatever. They're gone. So thank you for the panda. Is that Janice? Thank you. Oh, it's easy. You're asleep. It's 20 minutes. You do kind of remember it a little bit. I remember parts of it. Hey, Electric in Scotland. You do remember part of it because you're only kind of half asleep. It's weird. So like I remember waking up like halfway through and maybe asking him how it was going. I do that a lot. I did that in France too. They had me like on the operating table asleep and I woke up halfway through because I remember asking her, "How's it going? Like, how's the surgery going?" And I remember them going, "Oh, that's not good." And they put me to sleep again. And then the best part in France was the anesthesiologist tells me afterwards, "You were fighting the anesthesia. That was not good." And I'm like, "Lady, I was asleep. What do you mean I was fighting the anesthesia?" I wasn't like consciously going, "Oh, let's wake up now halfway through the surgery." But such a French way of putting it. It was my fault that I woke up halfway through the surgery because I was fighting the anesthesia, right? It just cracked me up. But Catherine woke up too during colonoscopy. That's funny. I mean, or not funny. Thank you, Making Donuts, for subscribing. Anyway, but yeah, you're kind of asleep, but not asleep. But with me and surgeries, I often wake up, which is not a good thing. So, but yes, I did. The other weird thing with the cataract surgery was I think they might have used propofol, which was like the Michael Jackson drug or whatever it was. And it gives you retrograde amnesia, I think it's called, and which is really creepy. That basically I'm sitting in the chair, and I think for the second eye, I remember the doctor asking me, like, okay, you're ready? And I said, yes. But then, like, now I remember that. All I remembered after the surgery was being in the exam. He does a last exam on your eye and then brings you to the other room, puts you in the chair, says, are you ready? And they knock you out. I remembered being in the other room and then falling asleep. And not only that, but it was very disturbing. And I remember I told him, I said, the one thing that kind of bothered me last time was you put me to sleep without telling me. This is what I told the doctor. And I said, it gave me a very unsettling feeling. Like it felt like violated. And he goes, no, you weren't. He goes, we went to the other room. We did the exam. You said, okie dokie. You went to the chair. You sat in the chair. I said, which blah, blah, which eye, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, are you ready? And you said, okay. All of it gone. And he said one of the symptoms from or using one of the side effects from using propofol as a sleeping drug or whatever for surgeries is retrograde amnesia, where it knocks out like 5 minutes of your day. Like the preceding 5 minutes can be gone. But it was the weirdest thing, like I said, because I remembered it as it was very disturbing because literally it was gone. And I remembered being in the room, and then it was like a black sheet went down, and it was, like I said, it was very disturbing. It was really weird. Anyway, so it was the funniest thing when I told him it. He goes, I didn't put you to sleep without asking you. What are you talking about? And now I have a little, or maybe it was the second time. I remember raising the arm or whatever, but like an X-File moment. Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. But anyway, ooh la 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 la. Oh, but it got me to sleep. It was fine. But like I said, the retrograde stuff or retroactive stuff was really weird. Hey, Herbie, have a good sleep. Commonly used for cataract surgery. That's what I seem to remember. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, memory loss. Exactly. I remember when I was a kid getting hernia surgery and again, putting me under, but it was gas. And the thing that really disturbed me there was I remember two things. One, it was like slower inhaling than normally you would do. So it felt a little suffocating. And two, the gas smelled so that it was creepy because literally they didn't knock you out with the thing in your arm. They knocked you out with the thing on your face. And it was very disturbing. I did not like that at all. But what do you do? It was, 1970 or something. You know what I mean? Like that. That's what they did. Thank you, Cheryl. It smelled funny. Yeah, I didn't like the smell, but it was also a little claustrophobic, and you couldn't breathe enough, and everything about it. I still remember. Literally, I was 7 years old or something, and I remember the smell being very disturbing. I am not a vampire. Are you asking the other person? Anyway. Oh, you're asking the other person. Okay. Anyway. Okay, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. Yeah, I'll just make sure that's not weird over on YouTube. It's a YouTube thing. Maybe one of the mods just go over and make sure everything's normal. Anyway, what else, guys? Getting a little warm again in here. Anyway. Well, like I said, we don't need to go long tonight. Power went out during your retinal surgery? Oh my God. Oh, that's terrifying. I did not see Larry David talking about Bill Maher. Didn't see that. What was that about? Oh, interesting, Andy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it feels like you're totally asleep, but supposedly you're not, Yes, Barbara, I was 7 years old. So, Right, right. I get a little bit of a pass on being freaked out about the smell of the of the gas when I'm 7 years old going under general anesthesia. So, yeah, Jens, just make sure it's okay. That's all I'm asking. Um, but thanks, Ash. That's funny. You were 7, so yeah, a little less whiny if you're 7. Uh, anyway, ah, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. What else? What else? What else? Anything else, guys, or what? We can end early. We haven't ended early in a while. I don't object to. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Sorry. Like I said, I got up early today. I'm getting up even earlier tomorrow. Oh, that's okay, Magic. I'm probably not going to stay on the Aravosis medical report today. Exactly. Did they give stronger anesthesia back then in the 60s and 70s? As I said, I recall it not being my arm. I recall it being this, you know. But I haven't undergone the French retinal thing I had. I don't know if it counted as general anesthesia. How do I feel about Kash Patel? Not a big fan of fascists. So, but the French surgery, I think they said it wasn't general. It sure seemed general. It was an operating room and the whole operating room thing, and you're wheeled over there and all sorts of stuff. Now, I will say for France, France, I was very impressed with the medical system. I'm going for the surgery. Like I had to, it's this whole thing called scleral buckle, but basically to fix the retinal tear, they had to sew something onto the back of my eye. It was kind of creepy. I don't want to get too gross here. But a friend of mine watched the video on YouTube and goes, "There's a video on YouTube of your procedure. You might not want to watch it." I was like, "Oh God." But I couldn't have my glasses, and they didn't want me to have my glasses because if I had them, like, they'd get lost in the operating room. So I had to leave the glasses in the room, and I hadn't had my cataract surgery, so I couldn't see at all without my glasses. I was blind, which was creepy. So they move me to the operating room. I'm in the hall outside the operating room, and again, I'm like in France. It's a foreign country. I speak the language, thank God, but it's still very creepy. And a guy comes up to me and says, "Oh, Mr. Aravosis or John, how are you doing?" And I'm looking, going, "Good." I said, "Who are you?" Because I'm like, I don't know what guy am I going to know in France showing up at the hospital, right? And he goes, "Oh, it's Julien." Julien was the like intern or internist or what, not intern, but internist or whatever, or that saw me at the emergency room when I first came in for my retinal detachment like a week before or 2 weeks before. And he was the doctor that saw me and did everything. And then, it didn't work out. So I needed the surgery. He saw my name on the list and came to the surgery area to just see how I was doing, because he recognized my name as the foreigner he had treated 2 weeks ago and just wanted to come and say hi. I was like, yeah, like, I don't know, that stuff maybe it would happen here, maybe, right? And at the same time, my doctor who did the surgery, my surgeon, gave me her cell phone. And she goes, "Here's my cell phone number. If there's any questions, call me. You can call me on the weekend. I don't care." And I literally said to her, "I'm not going to be calling you." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not going to call you. I'm going to call you on the weekend because questions about my eye?" I said, "That would be totally inappropriate." She goes, "No, it wouldn't." I said, "In America, it would be." I said, my doctor's never given me their phone number, ever. No doctor's ever given me their phone number. Yeah, gave me her cell phone number. I was like, "Okay, thank you." But it was very sweet. Yeah, for retinal detachment, which is bad. Yes, I was telling folks earlier, retinal detachments are bad. They're considered emergencies because you can go blind. But yeah, imagine a doctor, your surgeon, giving you their cell phone. Literally, "Call the weekend if you want. It's okay." I was like, "Okay, thank you." Yeah, they have answering services which work, but honestly, it is a little nicer having their phone. It's a much more, like, it was reassuring having her cell. Very nice lady, very good doctor, perfect, fluent. Not even fluent, flawless English. She was, and she was funny because I would, because me, I have to be funny. So she was a lot of fun. She was a lot of fun because I had to go, repeat visits and all that kind of stuff for the 3 months I was there. So we got to know each other. The MAGA Cardinal from Wisconsin. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I know of the MAGA Cardinal from Wisconsin. Thank you for the little dog who was at Cinderella. Thank you. You had surgery in Iceland and the surgeon gave you his number. Yeah. It's nice. I mean, it's a nice little, you know, poll says the older anesthesia had more side effects. I'm not surprised. Yeah, not surprised. Hello, dog. Hello. We're going out there. All right, don't go eat anything. Don't eat anything. I have swept up pretty well outside, so hopefully the dog is not going to find any sticks, but we shall see. Oh, that was nice. Same thing in Scotland, huh? That's nice. Huh. Anyway, thank you, Cinderella. More puppies. The puppy thing. Okay, the puppy thing is pretty funny. It's this little dog running around licking your face from all sides. It's very, and I think as you move, it moves, which is really funny. That's very funny. That's cute. Anyway, well, we sort of got into this whole, I do not follow Canadian, sorry, Nature. I didn't see Nature. Had asked earlier if I follow Canadian politics. Yes and no. No, I mean, I'm an American, you know what I mean? Like, there's only so much you can follow in Canadian politics, but I'm aware of the election coming up. I'm aware that at least there's an intimation that the liberals, the left, is doing better now. Is that true? The poly market thing, but you don't trust poly market. Are any polls showing that Trudeau's government, not Trudeau, but the new guy's government is actually doing better in the polls now because of Trump and the tariffs? Not just the tariffs, but threatening to annex Canada. Has it helped, or does it look like the right is still going to win in the election? Because the Canadian election should be coming up, I don't know, is it the next month or something, I think? Is it May? I'm trying to remember. But there was at least talk about it. Anybody know? Polls show all but 2 regions are polling liberal. Oh, it's next week. Oh, get out. It's next week. Oh. So now it is showing the left is leading. Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, April 28th. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. I mean, that's hilarious if Trump did this. If Trump helped elect a liberal government in Canada, oh my God. Now, what's the thing? Is the concern that a conservative government would be too close to Trump? Or is it just rally around our current government because we're being attacked? I'm curious, like, what's the thinking in Canada? What do you think the thinking is across Canada that is because the liberals were not doing well, right, under Trudeau, and now they're doing much better. But I'm just curious how that actually worked out, you know? Well, one might hive, but why to the left and not the right? Because sometimes, for example, like traditionally, if your country is under attack, often people move to the right. People often, in America at least, people often think conservative government's going to be stronger and standing up to our enemies, right? Well, liberal try to be too nice. Or are they, I was just going to say, Maple just said, are conservatives too much like MAGA? Are they concerned that the conservatives are going to be too close to Trump and too accommodating? Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Jay Shea, right? Gunther says the conservatives are trying to distance themselves from Trump, but everyone is seeing how awful Trump is and don't want Canada to go that way. Interesting. So they're actually perceiving the right wing as being somehow going the direction of Trump or whatever. That's very interesting. Wow. That's very interesting. Okay. Huh. No, very interesting. Anyway. David says liberal is just left of center. NBDP is far left and the PC is far right. Oh, interesting. So the concept is that the Liberal Party is kind of more in the middle and the Conservatives are a little too, I mean, you're not just saying that because you're left wing though. I mean, is the consensus in Canada the Conservatives are more to the right than the Liberals are to the left? Thank you, Marcia, for the gift. I mean, is that sort of the consensus generally, or? Yes. Okay. A number of people are saying yes. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. Center left. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. I did not know that. I just, like Trudeau, I never thought of him as being centrist, but I don't follow, it's not like I follow Canadian domestic politics. You know what I mean? Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. Huh. Well, good. 28th. Today's the 20. Oh, it's 6th date. You're right. So it's next Monday, I guess you said, right? Monday? That's funny. I guess why not? We do Tuesdays, right? Although Europe, like in Europe, they do elections on the weekend. It's Monday or it's Sunday? Because Europeans do it on the weekend, which isn't a terrible idea. It lets people vote more easily. Monday's not a great day. Again, in America, we'd owe the dog. All right. Hello. Come on in. Oh, look at your mouth. I can tell you tried to eat stuff again. Sunday in Germany. I was going to say Monday. Yeah, that's very American of you, doing a Monday, which means blue collar people can't get off of work. Or maybe in Canada, oh, you get time off of work. Okay, there you go. I was just going to say, maybe in Canada, they give you time off of work. Do they? Because in America, they don't. In America, forget it. Thank you, CJ, for subscribing. Thursday in the UK. They give you time off of work. Wow. Yeah, we don't do that here. We definitely don't do that here. Nope. Unfortunately. Yeah. What do you do? Oh, now the dog wants water. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. All right, you. Get you a little bit more here. 1 second. All right. Okay. All right. She's got her water. She's happier now. Anyway. Who's got compulsory? Australia? I know some countries have compulsory voting, or they used to. I don't know if a lot of countries do anymore. I remember like you were penalized or something if you didn't vote or something. It's not a terrible idea, really. Interesting. Oh, that's kind of interesting, though. Considering people don't vote here, it's, not a terrible idea. I mean, I live in Washington, so it's not like my vote counts much anyway. But, Thursday was market day. More people were in town. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Well, actually, Tuesdays, we had a similar story. We had a similar story about Tuesdays, but also I think why it's November maybe as well, our presidential. I want to say there was some kind of market aspect of that, of people coming into town or whatever it is. You're fined if you don't vote in Australia. That's wild. Wow. That's really interesting. Wow. Huh. Yes, men who owned land, of course. Huh. Oh, November's after harvest time. That's interesting, Chrissy. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, interesting. In the U.S., you're saying T-Sten spoke to a guy at the driver's license place today, said he didn't vote and now regretting it. Yeah, I'm going to guess a lot of people who didn't vote or said that Donald Trump was the same as Kamala Harris. I love that kind of stuff too. Democrats are the same as Republicans. You're like, okay, good luck with that. So yeah, all the Palestinian supporters who said Kamala Harris was going to be just like Donald Trump. Okay, enjoy your deportation. Bye-bye. They're not the same. They're not the same. Or on Gaza or Israel. My God, they're not the same. But oh well, what do you do? I'm civil rights stuff too. I mean, Donald Trump's literally like banning like Tuskegee Airmen and Jackie Robinson and hiding the graves of military vets and crazy stuff at the Arlington Cemetery website. I mean, just crazy stuff on civil rights alone. Hell, eliminating the civil rights offices of all the agencies. The offices are gone. Crazy stuff. Think it's a little different than Kamala Harris. Oh, well. A lady teacher being detained in New Mexico. I don't know about that. I didn't hear about that. No. Married woman enhanced driver's license. I don't even know what that means, T-Sten. It sounds weird. Do married women need enhanced driver's license? What does that mean? What exactly does that mean? I'm going to go soon because we're almost at the hour and a half mark now anyway, but I do want to know what that means. Thank you, user 336, for sharing the live. What a married woman enhanced driver's license is. Yeah, I'm not, and I don't even know what you're writing there about Starmer, but I'm not really up on my British politics either. Meaning, the day-to-day stuff. Who knows? That's not our. Who knows? Oh, real ID. Oh, yeah, you do need that. Yeah, I got mine years ago. My real ID update. Hello, dog. How you doing? Oh, you're looking suspiciously something there. Oh, the save. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, that whole thing, the married woman's name. Oh, gotcha. Right. We talked about that the other day. Right. Okay. I know what you mean. Yeah. Proof of your name change and all the crazy stuff. Oh, 3 hours. Oh my God. Oh, that does suck. Okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Wow. That's not fun. Okay. Thank you, Abdiaziz. Glad you I like dogs too. My dog in particular, but yes. All right, guys. Let's go. All right. I'm going to sign off, I think, since we're kind of hitting the slow part here, since we scared everybody away talking about all our surgeries. I will see you all tomorrow. It's Tuesday, so Wednesday we will be back 6:00 Eastern time, US. That's Washington D.C., New York City time. Tomorrow we'll talk about the latest news from Washington. We'll talk about the latest news from Ukraine and the war there, and then we do our hangout like we're doing now. Do follow me on TikTok if you would before you go. Same thing for YouTube, Discord. Gunther, you're still there. Oh, Gunther's like multitasking though. I see him on Discord and somebody else is. Oh, Jeffrey's there, but Gunther's like showing the flag over on Discord just to be there. All right, I'm going to sign off on Discord right now. Boom. Disconnect and end. All right, Discord is gone. All right, YouTube, you guys are next. TikTok, you're next. All right, YouTube, have a good day. Thank you for seeing me tonight. And YouTube, and